Hey guys, it's Alissa from Planet Alissa, and I am here with an Amazon video for you today. This has probably been one of my most requested videos. I make videos every week showing the different vintage items that I sell in my Etsy shop, Planet Alissa, and I also sell on Amazon, and people have asked if I could make a video showing what I sell on Amazon. Now there are a few problems with that. The first problem I have is that on Etsy in a typical week, maybe I sell 10 or 12 items. My Etsy sales goal is $200 in gross sales for the week. So, sometimes I meet that. A lot of times I fall short. Sometimes I'm over it, but it's always pretty close to around that number or less. And so it's not too hard to make a video showing, 10 items, 12 items, even if I happen to sell 20 items in a week. That's no big deal. With Amazon, on the other hand, my goal is $250 a day in gross sales. So I actually usually do meet that and or exceed it. And so what that means is like my total for the week, my target is $1,750 worth of sales. And so to make a video showing that many items is just more than I can possibly handle. And so it's just overwhelming to me. I can't even like try to do that. And so you're thinking, well, why don't I just show like a day's worth of sales? Which I could do, but I'm not going to. Because with Amazon, a lot of stuff that I sell is retail arbitrage. Most of the stuff I sell on Amazon I don't get from thrifting or, going to garage sales or going to auctions or whatever. Most of it's coming from retail stores. And here's the problem. I mean, I have retail stores, you have retail stores. They're all pretty much selling the same stuff. I mean, there's differences, but we live in a society of chain stores, and we all have pretty much the same chain stores, and they have, if not the same, then similar merchandise. And I don't feel like giving out what I'm, buying and selling, because if I do that, you're all going to go out there and buy the same stuff, and the market's going to become flooded, and the price is going to drop, and I'm not going to be making money on those items anymore. Now, a lot of the stuff I do is clearance items, so it's, a lot of people are doing the same thing, looking for the clearance deals, and, I'll even notice if I pick up something at Target that's on clearance, and, when I pick it up, it's going for a decent amount, and then a few weeks later the price has dropped and there's a lot more sellers selling that item, and it's obvious what's happened. Everyone's gone to Target, picked up the same thing, and is selling it. Now, usually the price comes back up, but not always. So that's something to keep in mind if you are doing retail arbitrage. Know that, prices can fluctuate a lot on Amazon. And if it's something that's, they made too much of, or Target bought too much of, and, we're just trying to push it out, well, everyone's in that same boat, and everyone's going to be, buying this item up. So be careful, and be aware that prices do change a lot. So anyway, there's a lot of things that I don't feel like putting out there and giving away. But I'll show you some typical sales for a week. And so what I'm going to do is show you 10 items that I sold last week on Amazon. So 7 days worth of sales, but this is not all I sold. This is just 10 items from the past week. One other thing to keep in mind with Amazon, it's true everywhere, but it's even more true with Amazon, is that it's very dependent on what the season is and what's going to be selling. You hear everyone talk about the fourth quarter, and, toys are huge in the fourth quarter, and you can go out to Target or Walmart and buy whatever the hot toy is and, at full retail, send it into Amazon and make money on it. You generally can't do that the rest of the year, so that's something interesting about the fourth quarter. But at the same time, there's certain items that are going to go better at different times of year. So this happens to be the week, let's see, it was really like 2 weeks before Easter, and so some Easter stuff was selling. This stuff isn't going to sell all year. You can go out to, Target next week and buy, Easter stuff on clearance, and you're probably not going to sell it until next Easter. That's just how it works. So if you have a place to store stuff in your house and don't mind storing things, you can do that. One of the things, this is not in the video, but one of the things that I sold this week was actually some Christmas lights. I bought a bunch, after Christmas. I haven't sent them in yet. I do have them listed, merchant fulfilled. They're in my attic, and I figure most of them aren't going to sell, but come Christmas time I'll be sending those into Amazon. But one did happen to sell last week, and so I shipped that out. But that's just kind of one out of, I don't know how many boxes are up there, 20 boxes. Yeah, so, and obviously people use lights for different things other than Christmas time, but that's the most popular time to use Christmas lights. So just like with my Amazon videos, what I'm going to do is start off showing you my stats for the week, and then I'll go through and, look at the 10 different items that I'm showing off in this video. So to do the shop stats, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to actually embed it nope, over here. Over here, Alissa, wow. Anyway, I'm going to put a screenshot of that there. It's just from my Amazon seller app. So this is the, let me bring it up on my phone so I'm looking at it. So these are my product sales for the week. The orange that you see there, the orange bars, that's this week's sales, and the gray are last week's. So I did good this week. I met and exceeded my sales goal. I sold a total of $2,152.23 worth of items. Not pure profit, of course. I spent a lot of money to buy these items. There's a lot of money paid in fees and in, inbound shipping and all that good stuff. But even so, I'm very happy with that. So you can see, by the chart which days were the big days. Unusually, normally it's not a big day, but Friday was a big day for me, and Sunday was too. Now part of that, it depends on when you have stuff getting there. If you have stuff getting to an Amazon warehouse and it's popular stuff and it sells right away, then you might have a big day. And I did have stuff that got checked in. I shipped out stuff on Tuesday last week, and I think on Thursday and Friday I had stuff getting to warehouses and getting shipped, getting checked in. So that probably led to the big boost in sales on Friday. Also, like I said, I was selling a lot of Easter stuff, and that seemed to be going big on Friday and Sunday. These last minute people trying to get stuff for the following week, really. Normally, I would say Monday is a big day, and you can actually see on the graph there that the gray bar, from last week, Monday was a pretty big day, but not so much this week. And of course, it just turned out that Tuesday was my slowest day of the week. No real reason for that I know of, but that's how it goes. And the Amazon week is Monday through Sunday. That's how they track it. So that's just, how it shows up on here. So anyway, those are the shop stats for the week, and then here are the 10 different items and what they sold for and what I can tell you about them. Okay, so the first item that we have here is an Easter item. It's a plush Easter basket in the shape of a My Little Pony. I think that's Rainbow Dash. This sold for $22. This is something that I bought, after Easter last year. Have had it for a while. I actually had multiple of these. And what's interesting is I had this one and a Hello Kitty one. They were actually something that we're selling all year. I mean, I guess it's not specifically Easter. You could use a basket any time of year. It doesn't really have anything that indicates that it's just for Easter use. So the Hello Kitty ones went right away. The My Little Pony ones went throughout the year. This was one I had up in the attic, and when the last of the My Little Ponies that was there sold, I sent this in, and so this just sold for Easter. This was a used item. It's a Boxcar Children book set, which sold for $29.99. I think this had 12 books in it. It was a big set. You actually might have seen this in one of my haul videos, because I picked this up at a thrift store, and it was in one of my thrift hauls. And yeah, it was a nice return on investment with this. I think the whole set cost me like $6 or $7, something like that. So $29.99, I'm making good money on it. This was a new sealed item, sold for $36.73. This is some toner, some Brother brand toner for, looks like a laser printer. I have it written down as fax toner, so it might have been specifically for laser fax machines. This is something I got very recently. I picked this up at an auction. It was one of those auctions where you bid online and then go and pick up the stuff in person. So I don't know what I spent on this. I spent a total of $14 on the stuff I bought at the auction. I got like, 3 things of toner, some other miscellaneous office stuff, a rotary phone, some games, some plush stuffed animals. So, maybe I spent $2 on this, probably even less than that. But this was a sealed up package. it was either within the expiration date or didn't have an expiration date on. I can't remember. I had two different things of toner, and one had an expiration date but was, well within it. So anyway, yeah, you can make good money on, printer toner that is not expired. If it's expired, then eBay is really the place to sell it. And then another Easter item. It's hard to tell. These are actually Easter eggs that are shaped like little bugs. So I think it's called Critter Search. There are 12 of them. It's sold for $12.50. Now these are filled with candy, so they do have an expiration date on the package. I bought these this year. I didn't actually buy these after Easter. I happened to find them, found a good deal on them at a discount store. Picked up some different ones. These ones sold for $12.50, like I said. Now with items that do have an expiration date on them, you got to make sure you print out a label that has the expiration date, put that on the package. You also need to upload, well, you need to include that in the information when you're creating your shipment, like your shipment label. So it's either got to be on the spreadsheet you upload, or you got to fill that in so that Amazon knows the expiration date for it. These were, I don't think they expired until like 2017 or something, so they had plenty of time. They could have sat there till next Easter, but they didn't because they sold. And like I said, a lot of Easter stuff sold this week. I'm just showing you some of it. So this is a game I sold. It's a Disney Junior Guess Who game. This is a new sealed game. Sold for $13.52. Now what's interesting about this is this was something I was able to buy in quantity. Found some at some discount store. Got a good deal on them. I think I got like 10 of them, 8 of them. I don't remember. I got quite a few of them. No, I wasn't making a ton of money on these. I was probably making about $3 a piece on these games, which doesn't seem that great. But like I said, when you pick up like 10 of them at once, it's really not that much work to list, 10 items on Amazon if they're all the same, as opposed to listing one. It's really not much more work. So, you can make like $30 like that, which is nice. So just a nice, easy thing to deal with. And these had a nice low rank, so they sold out pretty quickly. I just happened to sell, I sold a few this week. That was all that was left. I think I sold the rest the previous week. And this is a remote control sound machine. Makes little sound effect noises. Sold for $12.05. This is another item that I think I picked up in quantity, got a good deal on it, and sent a bunch in. So a lot of my sales are not huge sales. I did have some sales this week that were, I sold a used book for $95. I think I sold another one for like $69. But a lot of it are these, under $20 sales. But, you make money on them, and it's not that much work, so I'm happy with them. This was a new sealed puzzle. It's a 3D puzzle, the Eiffel Tower. Sold for $18.99. I think I picked this up at like a discount store, but it was like after Christmas, so they were clearancing out a lot of toys, and this happened to be one of the toys that I picked up. Now here's another Easter item. This is a cookie tray from Wilton in the shape of a Peeps bunny. Sold for $16.29. This again was something I picked up actually this year, not last year after Easter, but this year at a discount store. I got 2 of these. Now what's interesting, just talking about how prices change, I shipped these both in at the same time. One got there I think sooner because it was going to a closer warehouse. So the other one sold like last week, and it sold for, I want to say like $12.99, $14, somewhere in there. It was definitely less than $16. So the price, last week it had jumped a little because, now they're more in demand. Everyone's desperate to get their Easter stuff. And so the price went up, and I made a couple more dollars on this one. Now this is a cross-stitch kit that I picked up at a thrift store. It was new and sealed, so it's unused kit. Sold for $21.99. What's interesting about this is I think when I picked it up, I thought there was a listing for it on Amazon, and I made a mistake. There actually wasn't a listing, so I had to create a listing for it. I kind of hate creating listings on Amazon because what I like about Amazon is it's so easy to list things, and when you have to create listings, it's more work, and I find the Amazon system to be a little bit glitchy, and it doesn't always work right. It's kind of a pain, but when I have to, I'll make listings, and stuff sells. So even, this had no sales rank or anything like that, but also there's no other sellers because I'm the one that created the listing. So, these items might not go as quickly, but this got sent in a few weeks ago, I guess, and so it just sold. And then the final item that I'm showing is a coffee mug, which sold for $12.99. It says "Drink like a dinosaur." Kind of weird. It's a new item picked up after Christmas, even though it's not really a Christmas item, but after Christmas it got clearanced out at a store for like $1. It's in a box and everything. And I don't know. I mean, I go to thrift stores and I see used mugs going for more than $1. So, there's deals out there. Sometimes way better than thrift stores when you go to retail stores. So, anyway, made some good money on that. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. That's my Amazon sales video. That's the best I can do. I'm not going to make this a regular feature because it's a little bit of work to put together, and yeah. I don't know that it's that helpful because you can sell anything on Amazon. I mean, as long as it's, allowed, it's legal, it's in condition, that's sellable condition, and it's something you can make money on, obviously. But it's like, people are like, well, what should I sell? You should sell whatever works for you. You can see before you buy something on Amazon, if you're using the Amazon Seller app or using an app like Profit Bandit, you can see ahead of time, what the price is, what it's going to go for. That's pretty accurate. You can see the sales rank. You should familiarize yourself with sales ranks, because what's good in one category isn't necessarily good in another. There is some website, I don't know it off the top of my head, that kind of gives you an idea of what the sales ranks mean for the different categories. But yeah, you can see that ahead of time. You can see the what it's going for, how many people are selling it, and you can just see that all in like one snapshot. So it's much easier in that way than eBay or Etsy or something where you're like, well, it looks like it's going for about this, but, I'm not sure. I don't know how quickly it'll sell. You really know that ahead of time with Amazon. Now, like I said, there's instances where the market will get flooded. There's things that might have a misleadingly high sales rank. Like right now, if you looked up some Easter stuff, it might have really low sales rank, but, in a few months down the road, no one's buying it anymore. So, keep that in mind too. But, yeah, so this is what sells, and, I hope it helps you in some way. But thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll see you again soon.